Pass it on to YB Wong. 5 minutes.
Thank you, Edin. My friends and ladies and gentlemen, I have 3 points, but to finish all 3 points in 5 minutes, I have to read very fast. So that 3 points. First, defining vernacular. Second, the myth of one can only master a language. And third, the advantage of being a Malaysian. So we always refer to Tamil and Mandarin as vernacular language in the Malaysian context. As we categorize SJKC and SJKT as vernacular school. Yet, I wonder, has anyone here wondered why it is called vernacular? And what does vernacular mean? Social linguist Max Weyrich said, a language is a dialect with an army and navy. So Benedict Anderson had also pointed out in a different context that national language is the first of all dialects equipped with a printing press. So the vernacular language or dialect, which was first used to translate the Bible from Latin, then evolved and gained the support of the dialect users, eventually developed the nationalism. Then the language that was popularly printed became the national language. The advance of printing technology had not only increased the literacy, but also helped shape an imagined community. Yeah, I'm talking imagined community, and our national identity may as well an imagined one. The nationalism evolved around a language or a dialect with an army and navy in last few centuries. Assume that one usually masters only a language. While Indonesians started their independent movement in 1920s, they drafted the Sumpah Pemuda at 1928. In the Sumpah, it clearly spelled out one language, one nation. The satu bahasa, satu bangsa. However, we know that Indonesians have never ever spoken only one language. There are different dialects from Sumatra to Sulawesi being spoken until today. And they might be able to speak Dutch, the colonial master language as well. So across the Malaccan Straits, there were at least 84 languages being used, being spoken during 18th century. Being the entrepot, Malacca was so international and open to other cultures with self-confidence. In fact, many of them then spoke more than one language. So look at our country today, the Malaysia today, majority of us are still able to communicate in more than one language, if not 3 or more. We are proud to be Malaysians and cheering for our national athletes whenever there is an international match, regardless what language we use. The beauty of Malaysia is the multicultural elements that have woven deeply into our social fabric. So the Sumpah Pemuda that assume one man could only master a language might be partly right a century ago. The traveling from one island to another island in Nusantara was still difficult, and our communication was hence restricted by physical distance. Yet we can travel the whole world today, virtually in a day with few fingertips, and had the teleconference in real time today. And we found out that it is not only Malaysians who are talented in multilingual. We always think that only Malaysians are talented or Singaporeans are talented in speaking a lot more languages. But in the world today, actually we find out many people from Europe, especially those whose country is not as big as and not as strong as France and UK or United States, can usually speak 3 or 4 languages. So what do we call a person who speaks 2 languages? Bilingual. How about a person who speaks 3 languages? Trilingual. How about a person who speaks Yeah. Then how about a person who speaks one language? There's a joke spread online. My Taiwanese friend also shared that. The person who speaks one language, American. So, because they do not need to learn another language, and they assume the language that everyone speaks should be their own language. But in fact, we speak more than one language. And usually, the monolingual advantage, because they need to speak only one language, turns into their disadvantage in the global village today. Especially the world order is changing so rapidly. So we Malaysians are gifted because our country located geographically in between three civilizations, namely the East Asian, the Southern Asian, and the Nusantara. I spoke about this in my maiden speech in Parliament. The three main languages being spoken in Malaysia are widely used out there. 300 million populations are speaking the Malay language. Mandarin-speaking populations out there, of course, of China, is at least 1.4 billion. And Tamil-speaking population is also 66 million, double the size of Malaysia population. Just imagine that every Malaysian can speak at least one or two of the languages above, plus the English. How big of the leverage power we can have in the international communities? We Malaysians should be the best interpreter of translator of the world. 3 points here. So I'm Gulong. All languages are of similar value, be it Penan language in Sarawak or Bahasa Melayu. Second, we can definitely command more than one language, and we should not fall back to the outdated nationalism theory a century ago. Third, multilingual are the gift to Malaysians, and we should enhance it to make Malaysia a nation with pride in multicultural. Don't turn the advantage into disadvantage just because some people provoke the anxiety about one's existence on our motherland. Thank you.